Hiya, Dr. Allison JK here. Happy full moon is on the day of this recording, but this is a timeless video. Stay tuned because in this video, we're going to be building towards how you can shift something massively as we go through some typical suggestions that I have and techniques that are not well known for an area that my most recent Dragon's Den immersion, a lot of the folks in there said this was their most problematic area. You have an idea of something that you want, something that you desire to manifest or co-create out into physicalization on planet Earth, right? And the tricky part is staying with it so that it actually manifests, right? You have the idea, you get the inspiration from your guidance, or your heart gets uplifted when you see an idea or think of something. And so now you're focused on, okay, let me go for it. So starting point here now is a lot of the places that people approach this from is also, I don't want this anymore. Now, I have other videos out there talking about how not to set up polarity, because when you are here and you're saying, I don't want this thing happening, it creates a pull. So that now you have resistance. You've put this pole in the ground of something to resist against, and in the law of magnetics has it just binging off of each other. So a way to rise above that is literally that, rise above that. Now, I am in this video talking to those of you who have some kind of practice or have gotten to some point on your path of working with your consciousness, whether it's meditation or it's listening to clearings and activations, which get you there faster, which is why they were created, in part the whole vibration upgrade system, to get faster results than years and years of meditation get you. Honestly, because I've done both. As a yoga and meditation teacher and a meditator myself for well over, I think we're going on 3 decades now. We are. So this is assuming that you have some sense of ability to detach from your thoughts, to also observe your thinking mind or your ego mind, as we say in Buddhism and in meditation. So when you're aware that you're focusing on something, oh man, that is still there, a pattern that you don't want, rather than doing that pole setup thing and reinforcing even more resistance, rise above and replace it with something you desire, the desired situation. That if you think of the yin yang, because we're moving out of, I almost just said we've moved out of, some of us have, and collectively we're moving out of the time of polarity, division, us against them, separateness, polarity, right? And what encompasses that is unity, or the yin yang, the whole yin yang, right? Not half of the yin yang, the whole. Or the light, white light has all the colors of the spectrum in it, right? So you want to rise above focusing on the thing you don't want and instead replace it with, okay, what would be something better? What would be above this situation that kind of encompasses the situation in it, includes it in it, but is the improved version of it? And stay focused on that. So you could naturally have your ego mind in its conditioning go to, okay, what's the opposite of what I'm experiencing that I don't want? But I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting be aware that your mind's going to want to conclude that and go above that to create an even more, a fuller picture that gets informed by your guidance, your intuition, your higher self, the divine. And so now, when we're focusing on something we desire, it does require consistent retraining to come off of one neurological path and to create a new one. I just smiled because I, even just last night, I did sacred full moon clearings and activations for folks in my Activate Your Magic program. And in doing that, just talking about the entrenched, when I'm in the clearing part and I'm going through all levels of your consciousness, one of the things I clear is entrenched thought patterns, habitual thought patterns. So as it's going down that habitual thought pattern, the more and more that you can catch yourself, your ego mind, focusing on the thing you don't want, and redirect it onto the bigger, better, risen above, holistic picture, image, desired outcome. The more you're going to be creating new neurological pathways, the easier it will eventually become to go down that newer pathway, and the less easy it will become to just seemingly, for the unobserved ego mind, the unworked with consciousness, to just go down these thought patterns that seem to have a life force of their own. And another suggestion is actually get more life force flowing in you. Now, I have a fantastic product for those of you who aren't open to working with me in one of my programs. I have a fantastic product that really helps do this increase of life force throughout your entire system, and that's my Chakra Attunement audio series. Now, I also have a product in my shop to help you sustain this focus and retrain your focus. So I'll put in the description box below a link to my shop, and you can check it out. There's products in there at all different price ranges. Point being is that increased life force you can also get through a Qigong practice, and that takes a while, a meditation practice, and that takes a while, and doing things that don't dissipate your life force, but instead build your life force. So those are more yin behaviors, like swimming in the ocean for those of you in a warmer climate, taking a bath, going for walks in nature, laying down on the sand, laying down in the earth, back up against a tree. So you're not dissipating life force. You're aware of the expenditure, like money, like spend, receive, or income, output, outgoings, incomings, revenue, but now think of it applied to your life force. There is a time, it's kind of like losing weight in a way, where in the first, it says this personal trainer, in the first couple of weeks where you're coming out of the old pattern of being slovenly or lazy or not exercising and overeating, and you need to dig in you to get the motivation to go to the gym or do the workout. And then after like the first 2 weeks or so, you start to have that release of the adrenaline, the release of the hormones that help keep your physiology much more energized now. So you're actually eventually gaining energy from the exercise because of what your physiology has become now accustomed to. It's somewhat the same thing. There is a point, and I'm building into this great aspect that I talk about in my programs with my more advanced folks a lot. And I just had a really great conversation with somebody yesterday outside of my programs who's in this industry, colleague that I'm building into this great, I love sharing this concept, but before we get to that, there's a sense of you're building life force, you're building focus, you're building momentum. I don't want you to think of it anymore as away from that undesired thing, but towards the desired outcome. Last week's video also on my channel here, and I'll link to that as the next video to watch, has a practice in there that can help you with this. As you build the focus and the momentum towards what you desire and the desired outcome, with that increased life force, staying focused on it. And it's okay if you dip here and there, right? I mean, it's not like you're not going to have the thing manifest, or you're going to have the undesired thing continue if you slip every fifth thought that you don't catch and you're focusing on the thing you don't want, or you don't have as much gusto or excitement towards focusing on the desired thing, and it's not this full visualization with all the sense, etc. It's not some perfection exercise here. That's actually one of the aspects under this full moon, is wherever you expect yourself to be perfect, clearing that. That was super fun to clear for those perfectionists of you out there. I dropped perfectionism when I was a classroom teacher. That might sound ironic to some of your ears, but those of you who are teachers understand it. So as you're building this, eventually it will take on a momentum of its own, and it won't require so much will and force. Will force, not force, but will force. You using your will or your fire towards, and the determination towards having the thing you desire. Instead, using the clearings and activations, get your consciousness clearing. That then also affects the subtle energy system or the chakras, and then your energy system will take on more of the work for you. That is why my second book, Vibrational Upgrade, A Conspiracy for Your Bliss, has that subtitle, A Conspiracy for Your Bliss. Our subtle energy system is designed to help us and to do more of the heavy lifting that those of us, especially in the West with our conditioning, take upon ourselves and force and make happen, right? This can all be building up to a point where you have, and this is what I say to a lot of people as they're joining, they're taking the leap and they're investing in themselves in a mid four figures investment to work with me in my signature program that is absolutely profound. And nobody comes out of it not transformed. But I think some people think of it as a beginning point. And when I asked how can I best contribute to you all today with this video, it's actually an end point depending on where you're starting from, where you're able to put your stake in the ground as if you're landing on the moon and you're putting the flag of your country into the moon, putting that stake in the ground and saying, I will have this. And in a way, it could be involving the no more to that. So I don't want you to think that if you're on your own and you're not using any support, and that's another aspect of this full moon, is to look for the mentors, the guidance, the support, and invest in them. Time, energy, and if money is involved, money, which money most likely is. I mean, that's our form of exchange. To get yourself the support, because there is change that's desired so that we can have even more robust flourishing that's meant to be happening in this year of the dragon. So you could also, I know a lot of people, this is a time in the gym industry where a lot of people start quitting and falling off after their New Year's resolutions. Continuing to use the momentum off the new year, including what we just are basically completing the celebrations of the Chinese New Year as we welcomed in the year of the dragon, that can also help you, as can the energetics of the full moon. So taking the support everywhere you can so that you can stay focused, build that momentum, and get to that point of putting your stake in the ground and saying, I will have this. This will manifest. I will co-create this. And at that point, that level of will force that fiercely puts that claim, shifts everything. The universe hears that loud and clear because it's coming from so much of your system, all aligned, instead of diffused on another focus, all aligned with I will have this. But it's not an end point. It is to what we're talking about so far. And in another video, I'll talk about what putting that stake in the ground results in. What choices can you make today that will benefit you in your life? Namaste.